great jobs.
He ran using a simple motto.
I'm Rick Scott. Let's get to work. I'm Rick Scott. Let's get to work.
Let's get to work.
And it did work. For him, Rick Scott, a political unknown just a year ago, was elected Florida's 45th governor in November.
The reason I won the election is over one issue, and that's getting the state back to work. And so what my whole goal in the things I'm going to focus on when I take office is how we're going to get the state back to work.
In the process, he shattered state spending records, using over $70 million of his own wealth to narrowly defeat Democrat Alex Sink in the general election.
I hope Rick Scott remembers that there are 2.5 million Floridians who did not vote for him, and that his highest priority has to be to bring our state together to meet our challenges.
Scott first gained traction for his tough stance on immigration, promising to bring an Arizona-style law to Florida. But both his opponents in the primary and general elections tried to bring up Scott's past.
He's a fellow who presided over the largest Medicare fraud in history with Columbia HCA, which ripped off the taxpayers for literally billions of dollars, and then he took some of those earnings, and that's how he's made his wealth.
Attorney General Bill McCollum was thought to be a shoo-in for the GOP nomination for governor, but Scott used his outsider approach to attack McCollum as a longtime politician.
We've got to quit electing career politicians, and we've got to eliminate all the games that are played, and we've got to go back and use common sense to turn our state around.
It was a big year for Republicans all around. Another political newcomer, Steve Sutherland, defeated longtime Congressman Alan Boyd in North Florida.
Unfortunately, Congressman Boyd has decided to align himself with Nancy Pelosi rather than the good, hard-working people of North and Northwest Florida.
Boyd, a blue dog Democrat, acknowledged his vote in support of health care reform may have led to his defeat.
Some will say it cost me this election. If it did, so be it. It's the right thing to do.
Thank you, and God bless America.
Former Florida House Speaker Marco Rubio, who a year ago was considered to be a long shot, became the next U.S. Senator from Florida.
And we make a grave mistake if we believe that tonight these results are somehow an embrace of the Republican Party. What they are is a second chance. A second chance for Republicans to be what they said they were going to be not so long ago.
The Republican defeated Democratic Congressman Kendrick Meek and Governor Charlie Crist. Crist made his own news this year, cutting ties with his own party, as we reported back in April.
Now, because Crist went against his own party, some see this veto as a sign that Crist will drop out of the GOP primary for the U.S. Senate seat and instead run as an independent.
And that's exactly what Crist did just a few short weeks later, when it became clear he couldn't beat Rubio in the GOP Senate primary.
As a candidate without party affiliation, in many ways says more about our nation and our state than it does about me.
There were plenty of signs Crist was thinking about ditching the GOP during the spring regular legislative session.
We do not like the bill.
Crist and lawmakers were bombarded with calls, letters, and emails from students, teachers, and parents for what became the biggest issue of the 2010 regular session, Senate Bill 6. It's also known as the Teacher Merit Pay Bill, tying teacher salaries to how their students perform on tests. Republicans backed the bill.
Teachers will be able to make more money because of this bill, and this bill is about rewarding the best and the brightest teachers that we have in the state.
Teachers didn't feel the same way.
If it gets passed, every one of the teachers probably in our state are going to be gone. They're not going to stay in the profession, that's for sure.
I veto Senate Bill 6.
In the end, Crist sided with teachers.
Senate Bill 6 places teachers in jeopardy of losing their jobs and their teaching certificates.
Crist also irked Republicans for another veto. On the last day of session, Republicans passed a bill requiring women seeking an abortion during their first trimester to undergo an ultrasound exam, view it, and pay for it. Democrats were outraged.
Until you start growing ovaries or have them, you don't need to be involved in making a decision about what women do with their bodies.
And Chris sided with the Dems vetoing the bill. But Republicans got their revenge in July with oil on some of Florida's beaches because of the BP spill.
I'm calling a special
Chris
session.
called a special session to ban offshore oil drilling in Florida's waters. Republican leaders said Chris' real intent was just to gain political points and not to help out victims of the spill.
It would only ban an industry that is already banned, while neglecting the real needs of Florida and its people.
So the House and Senate adjourned without even taking a vote on the drilling ban.
Well, today I call this legislature the do-nothing legislature, and I'm going to give them hell for it.
But it was once again Republicans who got even with Chris. In November, the new House and Senate leaders called a special session to override Governor Chris' vetoes.
Since we're going to be in Tallahassee, it does make sense that we consider some overrides of policy that we obviously felt were good policy.
But the new GOP supermajority decided not to override the vetoes of the teacher pay and abortion bills. Those bills will probably come back in 2011 with a bigger promise to create jobs in Florida as the economy continues to struggle. A tall order, but one both parties agree is the top priority going forward into the new year. At the Capitol, Jerry Hume, ABC 27 HD.